Well, I have cystic breasts. I have always had cystic breasts. So I have always been vigilant in terms of having diagnostic exams related to my breast, my annual mammograms, the sonograms. Occasionally, I would have aspirations to my breast because the cysts were so large and painful that once they did a diagnostic and determined that it wasn't anything other than a cyst, I would have my breast aspirated, the cyst aspirated from the breast. So that going off and on, for my adult life, um, and at 52, it actually was at 50 because I had noticed a change in my breasts. Um, I always did self-examinations because I had cystic breasts and I needed to be able to make sure that there wasn't anything different about the cysts or the things that the cysts that would come and go. So always did the self-examination, but it was there a period there where I had noticed this like indentation in my left breast as I would do my self-examination. And there was actually a breast cancer tea at my church, and there was a nurse there that did a talk. And at the end of her talk, she said, "You look in the mirror, and if your two breasts are not the same, not that one is larger or smaller than the other, because that's normal. But if you have a, you know, slight indentation in left on your left breast and a slight one on the right, if they're the same, if everything is the same, then you don't have to worry. But if there is a difference in your breast, then there's cause for concern." And it was like a light that had gone off in my head. So that very next day, I went to my doctor. And mind you, I had been getting mammograms, sonograms, every diagnostic test you could imagine because I had cystic breast. My doctor would do the examinations every time I went for my annual checkup. And I said, something's wrong with my left breast. And she says, huh? So as she's examining me and I held my arm a certain way, and she noticed the indentation. And she says, "Oh my God, Phyllis, you're absolutely right." She says, "I would have never noticed that." So immediately she referred me to um, have another sonogram and mammogram. And it was at that time when they did the sonogram that they were able to determine that I had a cyst that was intraductal, which was in my milk duct. And so as a result, it was pulling on the wall of my breast. So they had to do a biopsy because they couldn't, tell anything else without that. And at that time, I went to get the sonogram the next day. They did the biopsy on the same day, everything the same day. And it was a few days later, I think I had to go back, and they gave me the results that it was malignant. They, "Oh, it's very small, it's stage 1. You're going to have to get a lumpectomy," this, that, and the other. And, I was afraid at first. And I had 3 young children, and I was nervous about it. And, it was basically like, okay, you can have a pity party for a couple of days, and then you need to become vigilant in how you're going to overcome this. And that's exactly what I did. I had a pity party for a couple of days. I shared with very few people what was going on with me in the workplace and at my church and the circles that I run in, because I have, I'm a strong believer in that everybody that you see and know your plight, sometimes they don't always mean you well. And people mean to be good, but if they're thinking, "Oh my gosh, she may get," that energy, I didn't need that. So the less discussion about it with those that I felt were not that close to me, the better. I never referred to the actual diagnosis as breast cancer for myself. I referred to it as a situation with my breasts. And so when I would discuss it with my doctors, when I discussed it with individuals, I would always refer to it as the situation with my breast, because I did not own that that is what I had. Not being irresponsible, but I wanted to keep a mindset that the situation would change and would become for the better. And so that is why I used that terminology to say the situation with my breast. And so I scheduled the surgery. I was diagnosed in November, as my surgeon told me. He was very good. He said, Phyllis, you're going to die, but this is not going to kill you. And my daughter is a gifted vocalist, and she had scheduled a concert in January that I really wanted to go to. And he said, listen, go to the concert, do what you have to do. And after that, we can do your surgery. So I went through the holidays, the New Year, the concert, and it was on like mid-January that I actually had my surgery. And so that was a level of confidence too, that wasn't like tomorrow I have to get into the operating room and they need to give me surgery right away. And, it's going to be all downhill. So as I got a chance to research and to become an advocate for myself, I realized that, you know what, this is the hand that I'm dealt, and I'm going to deal with it, and I'm going to get through the challenge. And so, as I said before, I'm 7 years a survivor, going on 8. I tell people that you are the keeper of your body. It's a temple. You have to take care of it. If I had not been paying attention to my body, I don't know what would have happened. And so we must be vigilant in taking care and paying attention to our bodies. I always, tell my kids, they're like, oh, mommy, I got a cold. And I have this saying, physician, heal thyself. You know your body. Your doctor, you may have a pain, and they're like, oh, but there's nothing showing a pain. But you feel that. And so you have to be vigilant. You have to be persistent in making sure that as you go to the doctor, you are being told certain things about your conditions, that you play a part in terms of understanding what they're saying, how it's going to impact you, and being educated about and informed about what it's going to be like before or after. After my surgery, I was also diagnosed with osteoporosis. So that, coupled with the fact that I was, had the breast cancer, now I have like brittle bones. And so I've been getting treatment for that. In addition, I was not aware that as a breast cancer patient, that I had a higher propensity for colon cancers or other types of cancers. And I was 52 years old when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I did not, I was supposed to have a colonoscopy at 50. I didn't have it until I was 57. Well, I had 2 polyps removed as a result of my colonoscopy, and one of those polyps was precancerous. And so here again, not taking care, just running through, going through life, moving here, there, everywhere. And my oncologist said, Phyllis, everybody is not taking care of business and making sure that they're following through on what they need to do for themselves. You have health insurance. If you have insurance, use it. So thank God I had my colonoscopy. They removed those polyps. Now I don't have to go back until 3 more years. And so I'm saying all of that to say we must be keepers of our temples. And if we're not, we will find ourselves in situations that we don't really need to be in. And so I'm just grateful that I continued on the journey of making sure that I was advocating for myself and making sure that I was doing the right thing and following in the regimen that I was supposed to follow as my doctors had prescribed. I know a lot of people try to do holistic medicines and they don't want to take, synthetic drugs and this and that and the other. But I had one of my coworkers that actually died because she said she just couldn't take the tamoxifen, and she stopped taking her treatment and she died. So we have to be informed, educated patients and advocate on behalf of our conditions. But at the same time, we must ask questions if we don't understand, and trust in the doctors and the technicians and the nurses and all those people in the medical field and the scientists that they're advocating for us too, and they're trying to just do right by us. And so we have to receive it in order for us to be successful in our treatment plans.